Well, it was actually right before I came to, right before I was elected. I went to this prayer breakfast in my hometown, and Chuck Colson was the speaker. I didn't want to hear him. He just got out of jail, and he worked for Richard Nixon. I thought, well, what can this guy say to me? But I was a state senator at the time, and I thought, there's going to be 1,500 people there. Maybe some of this God stuff will rub off on me, and at least it won't hurt me to be seen by these people. And I went, with a very cynical attitude. And I was surprised what he said. I mean, it really was good. I mean, I can't remember exactly everything he said, but I knew it had to do with God, and he really got me thinking about my life. And then a year later, I got elected to Congress, and I began to get up on Sunday and go to church, which I never did. My wife was the same way. At the time, I was about 37, and, my dad, we didn't talk about faith at all. We actually weren't allowed. I mean, he felt that people of faith were hypocrites, and as a result, I didn't know anybody of faith. I mean, I was so far gone from that kind of environment. But as I got elected, I thought, I had been successful. I had been a businessman, and I was an athlete, and I was now a congressman, and I had a pretty successful life, and I thought, I should really be happy. But I was really vague. I was kind of walking around. I think Karl Jaspers said, German existentialist, I think he said, you're kind of walking around in nothingness. That's what I kind of felt like I was walking around in, nothingness. And so I went out looking for God, but I didn't know who it was. I mean, who is he? I mean, I'd go to this church and that church, and nothing was making sense to me. And then a freshman congressman from Texas invited me to his house one night, and as soon as I saw this couple walk in, there was a light in their eyes that I knew that whatever they had were selling that night, I was buying. And it was this person of Jesus. And they talked about him, and I said, yeah, that was for me. And then my wife, she didn't become a believer until a year later. And she became, I guess I can talk this way in a secular university. I mean, because I've been asked this question, but
Yeah,
anyway, no, you don't have to say anything. You don't say anything. But anyway, my wife said, she taught me my first lesson about faith because I tried to shove my faith down her throat. I would say every night to her for 6 months. Now, Jan, how about receiving Jesus tonight? Well, that went about as... She would get so mad at me. And my friends would come over, and I didn't know anybody that knew anything about God. And they'd say, what's new? And I'd say, you're not going to believe this, but I believe in Jesus. And I don't. And they look up, and they say, Tony, what's wrong with you? Are you nuts? I mean, everybody thought I was crazy. But I pushed my wife for 6 months, and I was going nowhere. My wife was kicking me, and my shins were so sore because I was saying stupid things, and she, after 6 months, I just stopped saying anything, and then she began to believe 6 months after that. And I said, well, why, after I stopped preaching? She said, well, that's why. When you stop, she said, when you stopped saying anything, I saw that this was something special, and you had a different attitude towards me, your children, life, your job. I knew it was real. So that's how it happened.